Can you hear us, Sego?
No. I haven't, because you haven't invited us yet, right? Here, I'll come up.
Can you guys hear? Okay. I see Alexa and Jay. We're going to start in just a second. We're trying to get some people online right now, so give us 1 minute here.
I can see the whole house. Jay's on there?
I'm going to type in the chat right here, asking if you guys needed a password to get in. Also, let me know if you can hear me on your side.
I don't see anything.
Got it. Did you guys need a password to get in? No, got it.
I can't see what you wrote.
No, I'm going to hang out for a couple minutes. I'm just getting some text saying they're having trouble getting on, so sorry for the technical difficulties.
You can do great. Just get on the last one. Here, let me help you. Okay, good. Yeah, I found a code too. It was weird.
All right, let's give me 1 second. Oh, Blake, I see you now. Justin's on. All right, I guess we're going to get this show started. Sorry for the delay in getting this thing going. But today, just want to thank you guys for joining us. We are going to discuss basically how to go from being good to being great to being outstanding. Most of us who are on this tonight, it's pretty clear to understand how do you get from not so good to good, and that's pretty dependent on obviously how you feel, anything that you're doing in your life, how you feel, what kind of performance do you see going on, and it's pretty straightforward just to see, like, am I not doing that good or am I doing pretty good? The part that's most difficult is to know how do you go from good to great. And then also, once you're in a place that you're doing great, how do you get to outstanding to the next level? The term outstanding, probably one of my favorite words to use as far as achieving some sort of performance or, high performance, because just the words by itself, like outstanding, just means that you stand out above everybody else, stand out above where you used to be. One of the best, examples or stories that I heard about, just being outstanding is when you look at just watching the Olympics on TV when they come out. We all know who Michael Phelps is. Michael Phelps is, he wins the gold medal in swimming. And barely any of us can tell, unless you're a competitive swimmer and you follow it a lot. Most of us can't tell us who the second place was in every event that he won the gold medal, right? And that's because to go from great, great gets you, to the Olympics, right? Outstanding gets you to win the Olympics and get the gold medal and makes you stand out above the rest. Even if you're coming from a town, you are outstanding from the place in your city, in your town, that might get you to the Olympics or get you to the highest level, compared to just the people that are great. And what separates great from good, there's a lot of professional athletes or people around that are, that are really good. And what separates those people from the good people are just the performance of, if we're talking about sports and golf, going from being, in high school at the whatever level you're at to the next level could be your definition of good to great. And then getting from that level to your next level could be your great to outstanding. So we're always redefining what is good to us, what's great to us, and what's outstanding. And, in our past session, we talked about clarity, and understanding where you are today helps you define, where is it that you are, so you can define, am I in a good place? What would be great for me? And once I get there, what would be outstanding for me to get to in that aspect? So basic framework that I like to use to understand like how to take yourself to the next level and get to all of these is understanding: 1 is confidence, 2 is your commitment, and 3 is your consistency. So we can think of them as just your 3 C's to understand how to go from good to great to outstanding. Confidence, probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. Oftentimes we just think confidence is, how we think, and obviously it is, but confidence is always by design. So to think of anything that you've accomplished in the past, any big thing that you've done, a big test that you might have taken in school, some kind of milestone that you hit in the sport that you're doing in golf, or if you come from a different sport, any kind of milestone you passed there, you've always achieved your greatest points from, a place of great confidence, thinking really good about it. And think about all the times that you struggle. It's always from a place that you don't feel confident, you don't believe in the skills that you have, and just not the best place. Looking from the outside in, it's easy to see and tell other people that you just have to be confident, but how do you actually do that, right? So we're going to talk about how do you actually create and design yourself to become more confident in everything that you do. And so your confidence, it really depends, right? We go through different phases, and depending on where you're at in your life, you have different, levels of confidence or different perspectives of the confidence that you're in. So what might make you feel confident today in something that you're doing definitely may have been something way off last week or last month, or something that may make you feel confident next week or in the next phase is definitely going to be different than where you're feeling today. So, definitely understanding like what is it that gets you to feel confident, for one. So there's 3 basic things that I want you to get out of, like, how do we get confident? And the first one, if we look here, we measure confidence at a scale of 10 and only 10. So most of everything that we measure, we would say it's a scale of 1 to 10. So when we think confidence and about our being more confident, you're either at a 10 or you're not confident at all. And what I mean by that is, if you're only confident at a scale of 9 out of 10, what that means is there's a little bit of doubt. And when we do have that doubt, then that doubt then snowballs into more doubt. So if I was to give you an example, of saying, tomorrow we're going to have a spelling test and you have to spell the word read, which is R-E-A-D. And most of you here can say 100% that's going to be how to spell it. But what happens if somebody tells you, and it might be someone that you think might be smarter than you, or a teacher or an adult, just saying like, that's not how you spell it. Your test tomorrow, you're going to spell it R-E-E-D. Now, all of a sudden, our confidence that we said that was a 10, that I could say, yes, I know how to spell this word, and this is how I'm going to do it. And the moment doubt lingers in, I just went from a 10, that's 100%, that's how you do it, to, well, my teacher just said it's spelled this way in this circumstance, when you put it in the sentence this way. And now all of a sudden I have some doubt, and now when I'm taking the test tomorrow, I'm not going to be confident, even though I know at a 9 out of 10, I'm confident in how to spell that word. How that pertains to everything else that we do is we have to be able to measure the level of confidence that we have. So in anything that we're doing, especially if we're coming out to the golf course, where is that level of confidence? How am I entering the golf course today? How am I entering my practice round or my tournament round or my practice on the course? Where's my confidence level as I'm entering? And if we can measure it, we should be measuring at a 10, 100%. And if we don't measure it at a 10, then we have to know what is it we can do to get us up to a 10, and find the strategies and tactics around that. So as we're going further into measuring it, we also have to know your triggers. So if we know what keeps us in a 10, the second part to our confidence is know what your triggers are. So what I mean by triggers is what things in my life gets me to get from a 10 to a 9, a 10 to an 8, a 10 to a 7, a 10 to a 1, and have no confidence at all. And also what things that I do in my life gets me from doubt and being not confident to becoming, a 10, and get total confidence, and then approach that activity, that sport, that practice session, anything that you're looking at with, total confidence to get the best results that you can get. One of the best, going back to like our triggers, as easy as it may sound, just knowing what gets us to feel doubt and what gets us to get more confidence is the biggest change. We talked about in our session in the past is getting some clarity on what it is that we want. So knowing just the things that are going to trigger us to lose our confidence, we want to, make notes on that stuff to know every time it comes out, this is what takes me from a 10 to a 9, a 10 to an 8. So we have a plan behind, the triggers that occur. But also, we also have things that take us from a 7 or a 5 or a 1 or a 9 and take us to total confidence in a 10. And, we want to be able to list those things and make sure that we're doing more of those. So as easy as it sounds, you want to do more of the things in your life, in golf, in everything that you do that get you from anything less than a 10 to a 10. And you want to do a lot less of the things that take you from a 10, out of your 10. So, as easy as that sounds, most of us just don't do it, and we wait for the time to gain the confidence back. Just understanding that basic point there allows you to design something to get you back in a 10. And if you don't know, like, what is it that I can do in what I'm doing, if I'm struggling hitting the golf ball and it's not doing what I'm doing and what I want it to do, what can I do, and what is it that gets me to feel confident and hone in on the skills that I have, or go back and really think of a previous session that I was able to do it. Most of the things that we have confidence around and lose confidence, we had those capabilities at one time, and it just tends to go away, and it's the doubt that intrudes in our minds. So definitely design a plan around those triggers to do more of what gets you back, and remove and create plans around the stuff that takes you down. And, the last part, to get you, once you know what your 10 is, you can figure out your triggers to get you there, that takes you out. You want to take immediate action on anything that brings you back to a 10, or take immediate action that, you notice that takes you out of a 10. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm out there hitting golf balls and, just today I'm struggling and I'm not hitting it very well. I'm hitting it a little bit thin. It's not going how I want. And then it starts to get worse as my practice goes on. And so then that, like, one of my triggers, for example, is going to be, the moment I start thinking about too many things all at once is my trigger that allows me to step back, go to the bathroom, take a break, kind of relax a little bit, and, redesign what is it that I have to do right now. Because obviously what I'm doing in this moment and looking at every single option to get my ball going good is just not going to work, right? That's going to cause more frustration. It's going to cause my confidence to go down, and it's, slowly going from a 9. Then I hit a little worse. Then it's an 8. Then I hit a little bit worse. Then it's a 7, and I'm hoping for that thing for me to hit a good shot and get my confidence back up. So instead, me thinking of, the moment I have more than one thought in my head during my practice, personally, that would be my trigger to step back, put my club away, go wash it, go, sit down for a minute and just kind of think, what is it that I'm doing? Get some clarity around where I want to get to and how I'm going to, plan it a little bit different and create the environment that brings me back to a level 10. And so that's what I mean by triggers. The moment you notice what is coming in, you're able to design strategies and plans around to get your confidence back up and to tap into, the skill set that you already have. So oftentimes when we're looking at taking immediate action, for me, that would be just stopping, pausing, reflecting, and leaving. But a lot of times, we get caught in our head and we're saying, it'll just get better, right? And if I just push through this and you don't have any plan, your immediate action is to, you have to have a plan to say, like, when this happens, this is the action that I must take, right? So for everything that you design, everything that you plan out, if you don't have that, like, what is the action steps that I'm going to take, like, if this happens, then when that happens, you won't know what to do, right? Obviously, the first time it happens, you're not going to know, but, after that, it happens once, twice, a few times, and you see the pattern, you'll know these are the things that take me out of where I'm at into, where I don't want to be, and how that snowballs into the next round or into the next day. So you find those patterns, and then you just design, like, when this happens, this is what I need to do. And that's your immediate action that you take. So the next part of, how do you get from good, great to outstanding is, it's the level of commitment that we have. So when we use commitment, it's your dedication to, like, the cause and the goal that you set up for yourself. So we always have the idea of, let's say I really want this. I really want to become extremely good at golf, and I want to shoot the score of 36 from, the very furthest tips of the golf course to play, like, my PGA Tour heroes that I see on TV. Or the goal that I want is to get straight A's this year, and I'm committed to doing that. So our level of commitment is based on the clarity that you have around what you want. So if we look, there's 3 points around commitment. It's, you have to be extremely clear on what you want. A lot of times, and I see this a lot in golf, is, you're committed to becoming good, but when you say, what is it that you want? I just want to become a good golfer. I want to hit the ball a little bit better. I want to putt better. So when you give yourself really generic answers like that, and you're not clear on what you want exactly, then your level of commitment is totally defined by the clarity that you have. So if you're asking yourself to put in, design deliberate hours or moments of your schedule to practice on getting better, it's going to be around what you have. If you just want to get a little bit better, or you want to get a lot better, it's really vague. So the commitment that you put around that is just whatever that means in the moment that you have. Whereas if my goal is to be able to break par for the first time on the golf course from the 4 tee markers at our golf course, then you would say, well, I have to shoot 35 to break par. So you have a very clear goal of where you're at. When you're clear on where you're at there, shooting 35 or less, then you're able to acknowledge where am I at today and what is it going to take. So if I want to shoot 35 and my current score is at 45, it really gives me an idea of, well, I have, 10 shots that I need to drop in order to hit my goal. So just understanding what is it going to take for me to lose 10 shots is going to be huge, because that's going to give me the commitment level, right? For me to lose 10 shots, I can go further into, why is it that I want to lose 10 shots? So beyond just, having your clarity, we're anchoring the why of why you want to lose 10 shots. Maybe your goal of losing 10 shots and breaking par is to make, be the number one player on your team, or is to, for whatever reason that you create. If you anchor in the reason why you want, that goal or objective to come through, then 100% based around that reason, like why is it gonna happen, you'll be able to create the commitment level that you want. If you're doing it just because your friends are doing it, right, probably not the best commitment level that you're gonna have, and you're gonna dabble a little bit. You'll have this really great idea and saying that, yeah, I want to get good because I want to hang out with my friends and they're all doing it, right? That's really, initial stuff that gets you out the door. But as far as, retaining the commitment over a long period of time, does for sure 100% that doesn't last, right? If you look at any of the PGA Tour players, for example, I like Jordan Spieth's story about winning the Masters, right? For Jordan Spieth to get where he's at, he's definitely in a level of commitment that's above, in that outstanding level. He stands out above everything else. And when we hear his story about how he dreamed about winning the Masters, how he had it on his wall, how he, thought about it as a kid. He didn't know when it was going to happen, but he knew it was going to happen. He was going to do everything that he had in his power to get him where he was doing. And, beyond that, he must have shared, other reasons why, what it meant to him to win the Masters. Maybe his golf years growing up was all champions of the Masters. He wanted to feel the prestige of playing at Augusta National in one of the biggest, most influential tournaments, in the history of the world, what that's going to feel like. So if you're able to anchor in a very strong reason why you want that goal or objective in place, then you'll always find ways to get there. You'll find resourceful ways for you to, learn from things that you don't, that you fail at. All right. So often we hear the term like failing is good, right? Learn from, if you don't fail, you can't succeed. But it's kind of a tricky one, because if you fail at something, it brings your confidence down. And if you don't have the support to understand how to bring it back up and to learn from that failure, then all it does is drive you further and further down, right? So like imagine now hitting golf balls on the driving range, and you're 100% believing the story that I got to fail to get better. I got to fail. So if I'm topping the ball, like keep on topping the ball, and you're just telling yourself, well, I'm failing, and if I don't top it, then I won't get better. And if you dive a little bit deeper, what that really means is if you fail, you need the confidence to then learn from the mistakes that you did, right? You need the confidence to say, what just happened? I know this, I got to step back, and how do I fix what I just said? What kind of pattern can I do to change the course where I'm at? If I continue to just hit the shot and hope it gets better, then we'll go further and further away from that 10 that we want in our confidence level. So definitely failing is something we always hear, but again, it's something that unless you have a strong reason why that anchors it in, if you have a reason that I really want to hit the ball solid because, I just got into the game, and that one moment on the first day I ever played golf, I hit a ball in the center of the club face, and it was so exciting that the ball just jumped off the face. It went super far, went super straight, and I couldn't believe I didn't put any effort in there, and it went for miles. I want to be able to do that again because of what it felt like. If you have that anchored into your why and you continue to top the ball, all of a sudden you're going to find every which way to get back into that reason on how to figure out how to not top the ball and hit it solid again. As opposed to if we had the reason that just says, I don't want to top the ball just because, you know, it doesn't look good. And most people say that you got to hit the ball solid to play good golf, right? If it doesn't excite you and it doesn't anchor into your emotions on, you know, why is it that you want to get there, then you'll continue to do the same thing over and over, and failing just brings your confidence level down, and eventually you give up what you're doing and you just get so frustrated that you don't want to play. So confidence, you know, it ties into everything. And so going back into our commitments, we do need to create your options on what to do. So if you're clear on what you want, you anchor in the why, and that's super strong on what you want. What I mean by creating your options is just looking and dumping everything that's in your head, on your brain, onto a sheet of paper, onto notes to say, like, for me to get this goal that I'm clear on, I understand why I want to get there. I'm going to list everything that I've ever heard, everything on my head, and I'm just going to list it all the way out on things that I read, things that I saw on YouTube, things that I heard from my coach, things that I heard from my teammates, things that I just saw that could get me there, right? So now I have like a whole big list of things that I can do. And the reason why we want options is because we all have different lifestyles. So we have different, you know, time frames on when we can do what we can do. So looking at all of our options, let's say if we just had one main thing, if I want to get to, you know, if I want to get to even par 36 from the 4 tee markers, and I really want that because that is the next step in my junior golf career that is going to get me the next step closer to playing college golf. And I know I have to get there from the 4 tees if I want to have, you know, my vision of playing Division I college golf and playing for, you know, the college of my dreams. Or I always wish to play at, you know, University of Hawaii, you know, and getting out there. And if I know why, then you can say, well, what is it that I need to work on to get me from where I'm at today into shooting that even par 36 from the 4 tees to then move on. And I'll have a whole list. I have to get my driving better. I have to hit it further. I have to learn how to putt better from less than 10 feet and make more one putts. I need to be able to two putt better from 20, 30, and 40 feet. I need to be able to chip my ball within 20 feet of the hole every single time. And you come up with all these ideas because now when you're looking at it, you're able to prioritize what's the biggest value and what's the biggest thing that's going to impact you to then take your game to the next level. And if we're looking at commitment, we're also looking at the time that we have. So let's say we only have, you know, for 15 minutes in a week. There's something on that list that's going to make a big impact that if you just spend 15 minutes doing, it's going to make a lot bigger impact than whether you have 15 or 20 hours, you know, in the next week or two because you're on break and you can practice a lot. The plan that you design is going to be based around the, you know, the time that you have. If you build this plan that takes 10, 20 hours of commitment and you set yourself up in a window that you're during school and you have lots of homework and exams, I mean, there's no chance you're ever going to commit and sustain the commitment to achieve that goal. So having a ton of options in front of you allows you to see a big picture on what can you accomplish with the time that you're given. Excuse me. So, you know, in our last one, you know, the third part of taking us from good to great to outstanding is going to be, you know, consistency. So when we look at consistency, it just means it's the frequency of what we're doing it. You know, when we look, and consistency is going to be over the long term. So a lot of times we have all the confidence in the world. Yes, I know how to get myself to 10. I know what triggers me. I know the action that I need to take. Then you are committed because you're clear on what you want. You're anchored in like why you really want it, how it excites you, how it attaches to your emotion, and you also have a plan with the committed time that you have with your different options. But consistency is probably the number one thing out of everything that gets you to being from good to great to outstanding. We can get from, average to good with just confidence alone, right? From wherever you're at, just thinking better, being in a better place. You can definitely get to great just confidence or even commitment by itself. But the only thing that stands out between being outstanding from everything else is your level of consistency. How often do I do it? And is it on purpose that I do it? So when we look at consistency, we should always look backwards and say, like, how much did I practice in this last week, in this day, in this last month? And if you revisit that and say, I did put in 15 hours last month, your next question should always be, did I plan for those 15 hours or did I just show up for those 15 hours? Because the biggest difference in planning and being consistent is the only way you can be consistent over the long term is if you plan it in a schedule. So if you plan 15 hours the last month or the last week, was that in my schedule and did I design that to be consistent? And if you're able to design it, then you're able to do it over and over again. If we just show up because we have free time here and, I just want to do today, now all of a sudden we get weeks that we have, 5 hours, then 10 hours, then 1 hour, then this week we didn't have any, as opposed to looking in advance and building in the consistency that you want, or look out for the next week in advance and look at your time that you have. How can I get more consistent with what I've designed with my confidence, my commitment, and have my plan so I can design out for every single day or every availability that you have, this is what I'm going to be doing for this amount of time. And that's the consistency that stands out, that brings you from, anything other than outstanding to, the world's best. If you look at the world's best performers in anything, their ability to stay consistent to the plan that they design and then take the levels of their confidence to stay consistent and say, I don't need a break yet. The breaks are all designed. Or looking at your commitment level and saying, how committed am I at the, for this next 3-hour session that I'm going to do? Looking at all that stuff. Where was I on my phone during my session and checking my text messages or looking what's coming up next? That's our level of commitment. If you're one of those that, we see it a lot on with junior golfers these days. If you're one of those that look at or that are listening to music on your headphones as you're practicing, we would look at definitely at the commitment level. How committed are you? And what is the reason to listen to music as we play golf, right? And that's one of the questions I get asked a ton and a lot is, what's your thoughts on listening to music when you practice and play? And that the real answer is, it just depends. What is it that the music is doing for you? Right? If you're using the music as a tool to get you to distract you from being deliberate about your practice, then that's probably the worst thing that you can ever do. Because all the practice time that you put in would be on a very, very small commitment scale, because you're needing a tool to get you to perform what you want, and you're being distracted. So the amount of deliberate actions that you're taking in the moment that you're practicing is going to be pretty bad. But on the other side, if you're using music as a distraction, can I still focus on what I'm trying to do, hearing music in the background and using it as a tool to get through? Because maybe, you found out that you get distracted a lot when you're playing. So you play music to then distract you from playing, or distract you from the thing, to take you out of your groove and figure out how to get back in when there's a lot of, sounds and commotion going on the back end. So that would be a benefit of listening to music. Other players listen to music to develop like a sense of calm, right? And that would be a benefit too. They listen to certain kinds of music because they hear the same music over and over in their practice, and they're able to take that music or that sound with them to the golf course. And even when there's nothing around, they can revisit and re-listen to that in their head, even when they don't have the music with them. So, looking at that aspect, what is it, that it is that the music's doing for you? So definitely, it depends. But if you have a specific purpose for that, right, and that would be, through your design, what am I trying to do? And that will give you, the answer that you're looking for. Give me 1 second. The last part that I did want to add into all of this stuff is going to be, what is to just really be truthful to yourself. So it doesn't really matter, it does matter how confident, how committed, and the consistency you have. At the end of the day, what binds all of this together is, the truth that you tell yourself. To stay confident, the commitment, and the consistency is just to be honest with you. A lot of times we try and boost our confidence to make this story that we're going to be better than where we are, or better than what we are, right? And just look at the history of where you've been. Where was I last week? Where was I last month? And think, where was my skill set? Where was my confidence level? And don't just tell yourself the story that, yes, everything's going to be great and I'm going to get there. It's being realistic of, this is where I'm at, this is where I need to go, right? So always having self-awareness. And if you're not measuring all of these things as you're designing your practice, then you won't be able to be honest with yourself. Where's my actual skill level? Like, how was my ball striking contact? Like, if I drop 10 balls and I'm working on hitting it solid, how many out of the 10 will I hit good in the center of the club face? And knowing that, and not just remembering, the best shot that you hit. Confidence is a great thing, and we always want to hit the best shot that we can, but having the realistic expectation allows us to stay at the level of 10 confidence. Otherwise, if you just remember that one great shot that you had out of the entire 50 balls that you hit, then you're going to be shooting for something that's not attainable. And doesn't matter how confident you are and what you're going to do to bring you back to a 10. If you just don't have that skill set, then you won't be able to, get yourself into that level of 10, just because you're not going to be able to, hit the expectation level that you're looking for. So, one, just be as truthful as you can to yourself, and then decide, where do I want to go and how far away am I? And that way, all three of these things, being confident, commitment, and then creating the consistency, in your lifestyle around your golf game, definitely takes everything to the next level, for sure. I did have one more question that I wanted to bring up, is that I always get would be like, how is it that I get better at golf, right? And I get that, probably one of the most frequent questions that I get is with sessions and students that come in, is they say, how do I get better at golf? Or how do I get better at hitting it? Or how do I get better at putting? How do I get better at anything? And they put their specific little thing in there. And when we look back at confidence, commitment, and how that ties in, if you're just asking yourself general questions in, like, how do I get better at just this, right? There's no way to measure, like, what level of confidence, because there's that thing that you're trying to measure is just better. So, rephrase the questions that you ask into, definitely a lot more clear and specific things. And that way, the way you're going to design, all of this to fit in that's very specific framework is going to be a lot more measurable. It's going to be, a lot more clear, and the plans that you design out of it is going to be a lot more detailed, and you'll have that question a lot less, because if you know specifically what you want, you can design exactly what you need, and then that answers the question to, how do I get better at whatever it is that you want? So definitely ask a lot better and more specific questions, and that'll definitely take you from being good to being great, or being great to being outstanding. Actually, I did want to share one more story with you guys, and it kind of goes into confidence. So confidence is a really big thing, and I just I just played golf with my brother a couple of days ago. So we took him out, played 9 holes, and he's always been a better golfer than myself in competition. He's won a lot more events. And so to give you an example of the level of confidence, definitely on the educational aspect of how to get better, tactics that you need to get better, mindset that you need to get better, my education level is a ton, more than him, right? And he always asks me questions, excuse me, on I'm doing this to the ball. My ball is, it's fading to the right and it's doing this, what's going on? And to talk about confidence, he asked me this question. I'll give him a specific example. And I said, well, your path is probably too much inside and your face is slightly open. And his answer would be, no, I don't think that's it. It's probably because of this. And so it would leave it like that. And so he's so confident that he asked me for the answer. I give him the answer. He sends me a video and I also give him the answer. And then he takes my answer and says, no, that's not it. I'm going to figure it out myself. And then I got a call a week later and said, told you, I just figured it out. So, that level of confidence of knowing that he always performed better than me. It doesn't matter what I tell him because he feels that the information that he's going to, discover himself is going to be a lot more sustainable than what I give him. What he's actually looking for is my answer to coincide with his answer to give him the confidence to do it sooner. And the moment he hears something otherwise, he just says, regardless if it's, good or bad, there's a million ways to swing a golf club and figure out how to hit it the best you can. But, to be that confident to say, thanks for the answer, but no thanks, I'm going to do it my way. And then call me the next week and say, told you, I figured it out. It was my way. All right. So if you can approach everything, if that answer just coming back in conversation that week later, or even looking at that answer at, the moment I gave him that, there's no way she would give that answer at, if we measure his confidence level at a 9, he would say, well, maybe I'll consider it and then I'll try it, right? He knows the answer that he wants. He was looking for confirmation. He's coming from a level of 10. When he looks at his triggers, what gets him to hit that, his trigger was something that happened over and over. Then he called me to see if he could get the answer. I didn't get him the answer, but his immediate action right after was then, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to the range tomorrow, and then practice for that week. And then 1 week later, he calls me back. So finding confidence doesn't always mean getting, the perfect advice. A lot of times the advice, you know yourself the best. But it does follow this framework 100%, where you have to be at a level of 10. You have to know what triggers you. And like going back to my brother, he would never have called me the next week and say, I did figure it out, and do it himself without taking immediate action. If he just had a thought in his head and said, I'm going to do this, but I'm never going to hit a ball, and I'll figure out how to do it the next time I go and hit balls, it bothered him so much that he wanted to get it done. He hit balls and played golf that week, and a week later he fixed the problem that he called me for. So definitely step into your confidence and do everything that you can to get yourself at a level of 10. If you're not at a level of 10, definitely find a way to get there and find a way to design yourself to a level of 10. So with that being said, I would like to take any questions. I know it's a little over on time, but anybody who has questions, definitely shoot them in the chat, and I'd love to answer some of those. Does all of this make sense to everybody? You can just let me know in the chat. All right, I do want to see. All right, I'm going to see if I can squeeze some participation out of you guys because I know everybody on here. So Coach Jay says submit a question for skill chips. All right. If anybody asks a question, because I know this is going to be totally helpful for everybody. And going into confidence, there's no bad question or wrong question. We're all going to learn from everybody. I am going to raffle off for anybody who submits a question, a sleeve of golf balls of their choice. So whatever you want, you get a sleeve of golf balls for any question that you guys ask. So find the confidence to then type something in and see how we can get you guys to the next level here. So Giselle asked, can it be higher than a 10? So that's pretty subjective for confidence level. I just set it as a 10. If you want it to be more than a 10, then you definitely can, for sure. So just know where what you want to measure it as is just know where your baseline is. Like if you know where your highest level of confidence, think about, you know, when you're most successful in your life or in anything that you did, give that a number, and that would be the number that you're shooting for. I'll share with you another activity that you guys can do on confidence. So this one I heard, can't believe where I heard it from, but I heard it from somebody. And it was, how do you get more confidence, right? We talked about it here, measuring it, getting your triggers, taking immediate action. But sometimes, you know, you just get into phases where it doesn't matter what you do, you know the triggers. Have you guys ever been at a place where you knew what to do, how to feel better, but you just decided that you rather feel the way you feel and think the way you feel in that moment? So one of the activities and tricks that you should all be doing is looking back and just talking about yourself. So if you have a notebook, this is something that you should do probably monthly, is what was recommended. So it's called your cool list. So if you look at yourself and you kind of brag about yourself, you list the 10 things about yourself that make you a cool person, or whatever you want to attach to cool. So if you don't think you're cool, whatever that makes you stand out, maybe an awesome person. You can call yourself a confident person. But if you go back and you just think of just everything and make a list of 10 things that make you cool and what makes you extremely cool, you know, that alone will get you to start to smile. It'll get you to laugh a little bit. It'll, you know, get you from being, if you're like watching this and you're just looking at it like this, just thinking about things that you could brag about yourself on, what makes you cool. Gets you to smile, gets you to laugh, because it's something that you wouldn't really share, but it's something that you might think. So write out, you know, I challenge you guys all to write out the 10 things that make you guys cool, and then share those 10 things with somebody that in your class, share with a parent, share with anything to take you out of the position that you're at of keeping it more private, and tell them, this is why I'm cool. And that by itself takes you to a whole nother level, because the emotion that you have to bring in to share something that private and that you would not necessarily share, you know, you have to go. And as you're thinking about it, just all the great things that make you feel like you're cool. Like, for example, I'll share it with you guys. I feel like I'm cool just because I don't even know. So the fact that I don't know some of the stuff, makes me feel like I'm cool because I don't know everything. And for me to understand that, there's a lot to learn, gets me to understand that. That would be the first on my list. I feel cool because I don't know everything, which means, I don't have all the answers. I need to still study. I need to, read. I need to, progress myself and, to let that out. I also feel cool because I get to do, the thing that I love to do, work with junior golfers, work with families. I don't think I share that enough with people, that the impact that golf has made on my life as a junior golfer, and I get to do that for a living now and impact like tons of families, tons of juniors around the world. I always kind of keep that to myself and I don't share it enough. But, I feel that that's cool, that I get to do one of the biggest passions that I love doing, all my life. So, create your list. That is something that, I'm definitely going to do tonight. So I'm going to take immediate action and I will create my list of 10 things that makes me cool. And I'm going to share that with everybody in my class starting next week. We did have another one. Alexa had asked, how will confidence improve your golf scores? So how confidence and golf scores. Confidence, it won't always improve your golf scores, but what it's going to do is going to give you a chance to make better decisions over the long term. Your scores will improve, but just thinking and being more confident in a specific round, doesn't necessarily, create the result that you want. So if you think of confidence and golf scores, think about it in the long term. If you continue to be confident and you find ways to get yourself to a level of 10, and then you become committed, and then you create the consistency in the plan that you design, then your scores will go down 100% over the course of, a season, a month, a year, your whole career. It'll get to the highest level. If you think that confidence is just going to, if I think really good and I'm confident today, I'm going to shoot the best round of my life, it may happen or it may not. But what it is going to give you, it's going to allow you to be a lot more clear when you're playing. So the decisions that you'll make is a lot better. So you'll make better decisions, and in the long term, better decisions give you better results. It'll help you understand, certain tendencies that happen on the golf course. So when you're confident, why you're doing certain things. When you're confident, your limitations and your expectation levels are closer to reality, as opposed to, well, if I hit this really good one, it's going to go over the water and I'll hit it by the hole. When you top shots 70% of the time, your expectation should be, your confidence should be in a way that, well, 7 out of my 10 balls is going to go in this water, which is 3 out of 10 is going to go over. And then you make your decision. Should I be taking that 30% to go on the green over the water, or should I, lay up and hit it to the side? So the way confidence helps, that's how it would help your golf score. Definitely better decision making. It helps you break down, the tendencies that's happening. It allows you to tap into the thing that's going well and keep on pushing those buttons that get you, accelerated performance, accelerated thinking, better thinking, more energy. We talked about energy in the past. You having a high level of confidence definitely boosts your energy level, right? If you're thinking of, if you're not playing good, we're typically walking on the golf course. We're kind of like looking down this way. Where if you're confident, you're walking with energy, you won't get tired. And so definitely taps into your energy level so you can perform at the best level. So just being confident, taps you into a whole bunch of things that you're not fully aware of. So I hope that helps. And I did have, since we were kind of talking about that, I did want to finish with one more aspect of it on confidence, just because, you know, I really love this topic, and I can't help myself. So the confidence level that you have, you know, can be affected in three ways. So it's going to be, one, your physiology. It's how your body moves, right? If your body's not moving and you're like this, it's easy to go downhill and go from a 10 to a 9. And if you're in a 9, it gets you to an 8, then to a 7, right? So a trigger, just by tapping into your physiology, the moment you see yourself looking down, like, you can just look up and jump, right? Do some jumping jacks, kind of clap your hands, like do something, right, to shock your system. And all of a sudden, you have some confidence back, and puts you in a better place where you have a little bit more energy. And now you can divert yourself to say, now, how can I get confident from here? So always, you know, use your body as a tool to gain your confidence back, you know, and have the confidence to know that who cares about what you look like. Like, I'm doing jumping jacks in my house right now on this video camera. I really don't care, but it's getting me to smile, which means I'm at a 10 in my confidence, right? Because it takes a lot more effort for me to smile, and it's by design to get my confidence up, you know. Another one is the words we use, you know, our terminology that we use. A lot of times we're talking, or even myself and you know, students come in and we're saying like, oh, you know, I'm just not hitting it good. And then all of a sudden your confidence goes down. So the action that you're going to take from this day here, I'm just not hitting good. What can I do? Or, you know, I just didn't drive it that well. It's very difficult. If we rephrase the words that we use into like, oh man, today my ball was slicing like everywhere and I couldn't figure it out. Like, today I'm here to see you because I didn't have control, and I'm super excited to learn how to get my slice and turn that into a hook or straighten that out, right? Totally different perspective. And like my energy level, just saying it like that, right? Oh, you know, I topped it so much time today and I knew what was going on, but I just couldn't figure it out. I'm so excited to be here to maybe get some help and figure out, why did I top it to now hit a solid golf shot, as opposed to like, man, this week was my highest score. I kept on topping the ball and slicing it, and I just couldn't figure it out. So, you know, can you help me today? Definitely the amount of energy is not very much energy. The amount of stuff that you retain is going to be very, very low. So use the words to bring your energy level up, to then shape the confidence that you want. And then last, it's just the people that we hang out with, right? I'm not saying to make new friends, but if you ever had friends that, you know, you go and say, hey, how's it going? And they're the one that's just saying like, oh, you know, it's going all right. You know, it's pretty good. As opposed to the person, I don't even know if you guys have these friends, but if you don't, you should definitely find these friends and implement them in your lives. To the ones that would say like, how you doing? I'm doing fantastic today. You know what just happened to me today? This is what happened to me today. You know what I just did yesterday? This is what happened. It's just been a true blessing for me to do this. You want to be around those guys, because that is what's contagious. When you hear people talk like that, it kind of makes you stand up. It brings the energy back, brings the confidence back in, gets you to perk up a little bit, and then keep your momentum going, as opposed to, hey, what are you doing today? I'm not sure. Then your response will be, oh, me too. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I guess we're golfing today, right? As opposed to, now we're going to have our friends say, hey, what are you doing today? I'm going to go golfing today. We're going to go play at this course. Do you want to come and join me? And you'll be like, heck yeah, I want to come and join you. How are we going to get there? And then you guys make your way. So definitely the people that you hang out with. I'm not saying to get rid of your friends that kind of bring you down, but I'm saying to spend time around more people that bring your confidence level up. And those people alone those three things alone, the people that you hang out with, that you include in your life, the words that you use, and the physiology alone, those three by itself will be able to, those are three basic triggers that you can implement to then take you from when you're going down to get yourself back to a 10. So thank you guys very much. I'm gonna have Seiko do a little raffle, because we did get a couple questions, and I'm going to let you know who got it.
Alexa.
So it's going to be Giselle.
Giselle, Alexa, and who else?
Giselle and Alexa.
Oh, that's it.
Justin asked a question. Do we have class next Saturday? Not this Saturday, next Saturday. That does not pertain to this confidence topic, but thank you, Justin. You got 5 seconds to ask another question if you want to get in this.
Anybody else?
Giselle just asked, can your attitude affect your score? Definitely. Attitude's going to be, it's going to be blended in with your confidence. So your attitude affects your confidence, right? So if you have a great attitude, then definitely that boosts your confidence and keeps you at that level that you want to be at. So 100%, the way your attitude affects it, it just boosts your confidence and keeps you in a better confident mode to then play better.
All right.
So we've got 2. Seiko's just going to hand me one of these papers right here. And the person, Alexa. Miss Alexa gets a sleeve of balls. So if you type that into the chat right now, I will get you a sleeve of golf balls of your choice and get that to you.
What?
Alexa, do you know what you want? Not quite. All right, I will message you to get the balls that you want. Well, I thank you guys all for joining me this evening. I hope this was a great help for you guys.
Okay.
Alexa does not know what you want, so I will help you decide what
How about
you will get.
Starbucks gift card.
And I hope this helped for you guys tonight, you know, to take you from good, great, outstanding. Definitely confidence, commitment gets you good to great. What gets you to outstanding is the consistency that you implement your confidence and commitment level, right? All these 3 is the huge plus that you want to make sure you're adding in. So definitely start measuring every time, you know, every time you're out there. If you are not measuring what you're doing, then you have no idea, you know, what to do from there. And if you're, you know, moving forward, staying still, or going backwards, and that is the worst place to be at because you just don't know. So it's okay to be moving backwards just so long you know you're going backwards, because if you know you're going backwards, you can make shifts to get yourself back on path moving forward. If you know if you're going forward and you don't know you're going forward, then tides can turn and you can go backwards without even knowing about it. So measure everything, measure your confidence, measure your commitment, and measure your consistency. And all of these things can be measured on a daily, weekly, and monthly, and seasonal, yearly base. So the more you can measure it, the more you understand where are you today. If you know where you're at today, you definitely can make shifts to keep yourself going forward and progressing, or to change the course and get yourself into the direction that you want to go. So just want to thank you guys all, and we will see you guys all soon. Thank you.